will need the following tools for setting up the power supply box: a screwdriver with both a flathead and Phillips head, and a cutting tool such as side snips. You should receive the following equipment: the Cassia G power supply box and the pole mounting bracket, shown both here in their packaging. Open up the power supply box. Inside there should be a 1/10 3-prong cable and a 24-volt cable. Next, open the pole mount box. Inside you will find 2 band clamps, 2 brackets, and mounting hardware. Next, you will need to run both cables through the cable glands, which are located on the bottom of the enclosure. You will then need to remove both black plastic cable glands from their housing. Next, you will need to pull out the gray rubber grommet using a screwdriver. Try catching the backside lip of the rubber grommet to remove more easily. Be careful not to damage grommet during removal. Once both rubber grommets are removed, you can set them aside for now. Next, grab the 1/10 power cable. You will then need to slide the black plastic piece over the terminal connectors. Then grab the gray rubber grommet and feed the connectors through it as shown. Once the wires are through, you may set the cable aside for now. Next, you can grab the 24-volt cable and repeat the process of feeding the wires through the black plastic piece and gray rubber grommet. Next, you will need to grab the same 24-volt cable. For reference, this is the cable with the M12 connector as shown here. You will need to slide the connectors through the grommet on the right. Make sure to allow a bit of cable slack as you pull the cable through. Then grab the gray rubber grommet and push it into the assembly. Now you may pull the cable for additional slack. Ensure you are clamping down on the full cable area and not on the individual wires. You can now tighten the black plastic piece of the grommet. This will compress the rubber grommet for a waterproof seal. If done correctly, you should not be able to easily slide the cable back and forth. Now grab the 1/10 cable and repeat the process through the left grommet. Now grab the screwdriver with Phillips head attached. This will be used to secure the cables to the supply box inside. Both the wires and ports are individually labeled, indicating which wire corresponds to which port. To begin, start with the 24-volt cable. You will want to slightly loosen the screw in the terminal, but don't remove it completely. Slide the terminal connector underneath the screw. Once it is in place, secure it with a screwdriver. Tighten screw snug, but do not over-tighten. Ensure that the red piece is seated up against the power supply. Secure the second wire of the 24-volt cable in the same manner. Now grab the 1/10 cable and repeat the process. Once complete, connect the 1/10 cable to a ready power outlet. To verify that power is being properly supplied, a green LED indicator light will appear inside, as well as a red light on the outside of the enclosure. You can now unplug the cable from the outlet when the check is complete. Once the wires are secured, you can close up the supply box. At this point, if you are not planning to install the supply box on a pole mount, you have completed this setup. If you are planning to install on a pole mount, keep watching for assembly of the pole mounting brackets. You can now flip the supply box over. Now move on to the bracket mounting box and open it to grab the 2 brackets. You will want to place them in the orientation as shown here. Inside, there are 2 sets of screws, threaded plastic screws and the smaller machine screws. We will only be using the threaded plastic screws for this procedure. You can set the machine screws aside. Grab the supplied washers and place them over the threaded plastic screws. The screw will go through the bracket and into the supply box as indicated. Use the screwdriver to loosely tighten the first screw. This will allow you to slide the bracket and get it centered before tightening the next screw. A good indicator that the bracket is centered is checking that these two holes are equally spaced apart. Repeat the same process for the second bracket. Once all screws are tightened, ensure neither of the brackets are able to shift. Now grab the supply band clamps and cut off the zip tie. You will then want to loosen the screw that tightens the band clamp using a flathead or the open socket of an interchangeable screwdriver. Once the clamp is opened, you will want to thread it through the openings on the bracket as indicated. Now you will need to thread it through the backside of the band clamp and slightly tighten with a screwdriver. Repeat the same process for the second band clamp. Assembly of the power supply box is now complete. Move on to the next video for installation.